It's Tuesday, March the 21st. Douglas wants weapon control. He can talk. Madonna. Guy Ritchie gets into her groove. Budget shocker. It's just as boring as the last one. Please welcome the man who's never had it so good, Mr. Iain Lee.
You waited. Hello. It's still here. The Joes are still here. That's all we need. That's all we need for a show. Come on. Calm down. Hello and welcome to the 11 o'clock show. Did you see Gordon Brown's fantastic budget speech today? Brilliant. Bit like watching someone use a blow-up doll. You've got a sad single bloke spouting hot air and worrying about the problems of low inflation. Of course, actually, he's just fucking you and me. Satire! That Thatcher, don't get me started, calm down. Of course, unlike previous chancellors, Gordon didn't drink during the budget speech, although rumour has it he did have a quick sherry beforehand. Apparently, she's up for anything. That's it, more knob gags, here we come. So what happened? Well, road tax has gone up. Prescott wasn't happy about that, not with his 3 Jags. He immediately went out and got completely pie-eyed. Nothing to drink, just loads of pies for the big fat... Give me the pies! And booze and petrol will cost more, which is bad news for drink drivers. Mind you, there was good news. There was good news for families up north. They get a whole £1.32 a week extra, which means they'll be able to buy their council houses and still have enough money left over to buy their 20 scraggy-ass kids some shoes. Brilliant. But what hasn't Gordon told us about? Well, according to rumours, what he gives with one hand, he takes with the other. Apparently he's excellent at the sticky biscuit game. Just a joke for the boys there. Or ladies, you should try it, it's tasty. But I tell you what, I'm just glad this budget isn't going to affect me in the slightest. I don't drink, I don't drive, and I only ever smoke after sex. That's not very often. But enough of this budget brouhaha. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the girl who's never taxing on the eye. It's her, Miss Daisy Donovan. You came up the ramp today. They've lowered that.
So, Madonna's going to have a baby with Guy Ritchie, but will their relationship last? She's already been through Prince, Sean Penn and Sandra Bernhardt, amongst others. That's a midget, an aggressive nutter and a gay lady. Surely she could have saved a lot of effort and just dated Sandy Toksvig instead. Just joking, Sandy.
Daisy, stop and tell us what's coming up on tonight's show, please.
Oh, will do,
please.
Iain. Coming up, boy from the bush, Gavin Rossdale, joins us live. We go stateside for Reginald D. Hunter's take on the race to become president. And as for Iain...
I'll be finding out if we've lost our moral values. Oh, cheers, love.
You're a cheap thief. Now it's time for the headlines. Tonight's top stories.
Michael Douglas addressed MPs yesterday about the dangers of nuclear weapons. The speech was going well until he was put off when Anne Widdecombe uncrossed her legs.
The producers of the proposed film, based on the life of Linda McCartney, have said that the film will play on the more tragic aspects of Linda's life. It'll be a musical.
There was concern this morning as emergency medication was rushed to George Best's hospital bedside.
On his current tour of the Holy Land, the Pope showed the effects of downing 2 pints of woodpecker cider for lunch.
I greet all you in the name of the Father, the gracious and merciful God.
Moments later, he remembered he left the oven on at home.
To avoid bias, the BBC has told staff to stop referring to Ken Livingstone as Cuddly Ken. Similarly, they should refer to Frank Dobson and not that fat spoon who hasn't got a prayer.
In Israel, Yasser Arafat took time out from the peace negotiations to take part in Muslim pop aerobics.
With the budget today, bad news for smokers and drinkers. You're going to die of cancer or liver failure.
And those are tonight's headlines. I'm not listening.
In today's budget, Gordon Brown announced generous rises in funding for the NHS.
But are we as a nation doing enough to look after our health? Here's Paul Garner with his report on the health of the nation.
Brian certainly led a full and active life. But I think he will be best remembered for his great laughter, his dedication to Sue and the children, his tireless zest for life, and indeed his modesty and restraint.
Balls! He'll be best remembered for stuffing his fat face, boozing like a bastard, and smoking like a frigging furnace.
And the sad thing is, the whole country is full of morons like this, which poses some pretty serious questions about the health of the nation.
Statistics say that nearly 70% of the population are either obese or seriously unhealthy. But instead of sitting here like the offspring spawned from a night of passion between Oliver Reed and a 40-a-day gannet, people like this fat bastard could be doing something about it.
Novelty-speaking fridge recordings have stopped some habitual snackers slipping into temptation.
Hey, what about your diet, fatso?
But for the more easily swayed, spend a little more money and get yourself a fridge thug. He'll punch your face off if you eat between meals.
You're supposed to be on a fucking diet!
Smokers who just can't kick the habit should try the new brand Terminal Breath. Made with herbal alternatives, the ingredients also include a combination of nitrogen and Semtex, making giving up a real blast. And most importantly, if you work in an unhealthy environment, try to get more regular exercise. Studies have proved that the most effective way to lose calories is shagging.
Oh, that's £1, please, mate.
Some people will go to almost any lengths to lose weight. In America, the new alternative to liposuction sees overweight patients actually having fatty tissue cut from their bodies. Take a look at this.
Hi, I'm Greg Petroni. This is me 2 years ago, overweight and unloved. I was fed up with how I looked, until a friend suggested I try talking to the good people at Caesars. Here at Caesars, the highly trained professional staff use big, sharp saws to cut away any unwanted fat. After visiting Caesars, I lost over 80 pounds in excess weight, and I feel great. And hey, I even found myself a girlfriend. Hi, honey.
Hey, Greg.
Caesars. I came, they soared, I conquered my weight problem.
At the end of the day, it's up to you to make your own lifestyle more healthy. If, as they say, you are what you eat, that may explain why Michael Portillo is such a massive cock. This is Paul Garner for the 11 o'clock show in Hampshire. Cheers.
Oh, you dirty sot!
That was a bad taste in my mouth, honestly. Well, it seems that banks are the new beggars. There's one on every high street, they're always demanding money, and every Saturday night you get the urge to piss on one.
And why not? A report out today reveals that banks are ripping us off to the tune of £5 billion a year. Think about it, that could buy David Beckham 3 haircuts.
So what can you do to stop being ripped off? Well, we suggest you take your money out of the bank and stick it somewhere else. And to help you, here's our exclusive guide to where to put your wonga.
You could put your savings under the mattress.
On the upside, your money's always close at hand.
On the downside, you're never going to pull if you tell people you've got a monkey and a pony under your bed.
If you don't mind breaking the law, you could invest your money in a large quantity of illegal drugs.
Upside, if things go well, you'll be raking it in.
Downside, the only way to get your money is out of a condom stuffed up your dealer's arse.
Put it in a hole in the garden.
Upside, a hole in the garden doesn't charge you to get your money.
Downside, rabbits are notoriously bad at giving mortgage advice.
You could put your money up the chimney.
Upside, you know your money will always be there.
Downside, when you have to hire a Victorian urchin to get your cash out.
And that was our guide to getting the most for your moolah. Iain, do you think Britain's morals are on the slide?
Well, to be honest, Daisy, I can't answer that because I'm too high on crack and too busy daydreaming about prosy murder to concentrate on what you're saying.
But does everyone take such a high moral stance as Iain? He went to London, home of morals, to find out.
Got it.
On the day that 41-year-old unmarried mother Madonna announced she has another bun in the oven, I'm asking, have we lost our moral standards? I've come here to London to find out. Is it immoral to piss in a cup of tea and give it to your mate?
Yeah, that is immoral.
But supposing your mate had a sore mouth and only your honey-flavoured piss could cure it. That's still immoral. So you wouldn't help a mate in pain?
Not by pissing. I know.
Supposing it would actually help his mouth, though. It would help his mouth get better.
So you're saying supposing, yeah? Yeah, then I'll do it.
Supposing your blind aunt gave you money to buy a lottery ticket for her every week, would you A, buy the ticket, or B, would you spend the money on fags and give your aunt a bit of paper that said, sod off blind aunt, you're on your own? You'd actually do that?
Oh, naturally.
Do you know a survey of under 12-year-olds, between 1 and 100% said they'd keep the money?
Oh, my God. It shows you. That's an example of what the morals are like today.
And what made-up figures are like.
Yeah.
Supposing your mate's bird came onto you, I know it's unlikely, you're an ugly fella, but supposing she did, would you be loyal to your mate and not shag her?
If she's good looking, I'd do it.
You do it with your best mate's bird?
Yeah. I don't give a shit about that.
But all right, fair enough. Can thoughts be immoral as well as deeds?
It depends what you're thinking about.
Well, supposing you're cracking one off, you're thinking about Michael Barrymore. Is that immoral?
It depends. I wouldn't say anything against Michael Barrymore.
No, I wouldn't say anything about him. He's a great bloke, top entertainer. But is it right to lie at home, cracking one off, having a jostle, shivering a beauty, thinking about Barrymore?
I wouldn't think about Barrymore.
You think about Dale Winton?
No, I wouldn't think about Dale Winton.
Don Estelle?
No, not Don Estelle.
Stu Francis?
No, I'd think about Shania Twain.
Shania Twain? Yeah. What you said, so guess gets right, you're at home cracking off, you don't think about Michael Barrymore, you think about Shania Twain. So there we have it. While the rest of the country may have lost their morals, I still know the difference between right and wrong. And you can't tell me it's right to charge 60 quid for 2 Russian whores. This has been Iain Lee, the 11 o'clock show, London. I want them cheaper than that and round my place now.
Shania Twain. Hollywood star Michael Douglas normally appears in big-budget blockbusters, but he recently appeared in a Welsh period drama, the day fiancée Catherine Zeta-Jones said, "I'm late." But his latest starring role is at Westminster.
Yesterday, Douglas spoke to MPs about the dangers of nuclear war. It might not sound too appealing, but most present said it was far less traumatic than watching him dance with the lesbians in Basic Instinct.
Unfortunately, Douglas's quest for peace has been dismissed as a publicity stunt, but in fact he's always had a wide range of charitable concerns, as we can now reveal.
Before helping the UN, Douglas headed another disarmament group, the International Movie Actors Campaign for Nuclear Unilateral Termination, or IMACNUT, as this poster shows.
Douglas has also worked tirelessly to highlight the misery of sex addiction. A sufferer himself, he opened a clinic for Hollywood shag addicts. Douglas eventually pulled out and then had another crack.
He also helps rehabilitate those who, through no fault of their own, have been subjected to hideous ordeals by funding research into the lasting effects of being entered by John Leslie.
His other favourite causes include Cradle Snatchers Anonymous.
Saggy asked actors for more explicit love scenes.
The Society for Mastering the Welsh Tongue.
The campaign for a third sequel to Romancing the Stone.
His own personal crusade to stop people referring to him as the other twat in Basic Instinct.
Douglas's generosity has rubbed off on others. Fiancée Catherine Zeta-Jones is already giving high-profile support to her favourite charity, Fuck the Aged.
And that was our guide to the bonkers benevolence of Michael Douglas. He said fiancée on a very posh show.
Yeah. Now, some key events in our cultural history are beyond satire. The D-Day landings, winning the World Cup, and, of course, Jonathan Aitken sharing a prison shower with some bum-hungry convicts.
In his continuing series on the 20th century landmarks, Ricky Gervais examines one such event which changed our lives forever. Tonight, Band-Aid.
Christmas #1 of 1984 became the biggest selling single of the decade. It was for famine relief, was by Band-Aid, and was called Do They Know It's Christmas. It was inspired by a trip to Ethiopia by Bob Geldof and Midjour on Christmas Day the year before. The Africans really hadn't made much of an effort. There was no tree, no fake snow, no glitter. They were just lying around in the dust. It was a real down atmosphere. And Bob turned to Midge and he went, "Do they know it's Christmas or what?" And Midge went, "That might be a good title for a song." Bob went, "Yeah, we could release it as a single and give all the money to the Africans." Midge went, "Well, not all of it." Bob went, "Well, yeah, they're starving." Midge went, "Well, steady on. You know, see, a bit mean from Scotland. Don't get me started on that." Then they organised one of the most memorable live events of all time. Watched all around the world and involving only the biggest, most impressive stars. Live Aid the concert raised literally millions for famine relief, and all out of the kindness of one man's heart. He even got the Boomtown Rats to play, because they were still a big draw in 1985.
That's the end of part one. Still to come, Top Rock Totty, Gavin Rossdale.
And straight after the break, we've got classic clips of full-on live bed action from Amsterdam. You don't want to miss it.
...1969, and John and Yoko go to bed for a week. Lazy sods. They call it bed peace. I call it a waste of bloody time. John, you can't stop war by staying in bed. You need guns to shoot the baddies. You'll never get peace in bed. Not with Yoko snoring.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock show.
Coming up, the man who cracked America, Gavin Rossdale. But first, it's time for another look at tonight's headlines.
Reports claim Hillary Clinton had 12 lesbian lovers. Bill demands to see the evidence, preferably on video.
Academy thanks Trump for finding Oscars. Trump thanks his mother, his fans and God.
Gay disco at psychiatric hospital. They dance to the tunes in their head.
British politicians are renowned for listening to the concerns of ethnic voters and then completely ignoring them.
But what about the US? Here's our American correspondent, Reginald D. Hunter, with his view on the race for the White House.
It's election year 2000, and if George Bush or Al Gore is going to make it to the White House, they're first going to have to be accepted in a lot of black houses. Great strides have been made since the 1960s, but the American South has a long way to go before it realizes Dr. Martin Luther King's dream.
I knew Dr. King, and I knew about his dream. But what most folks don't know is Dr. King had more than one dream. He had lots of dreams. Like the one where he was urinating on them turkeys.
Despite the economic independence of the Black South, the Republican Party has more or less given up trying to attract their vote. In New Hampshire, they spend millions wooing voters. But in Georgia, they tend to spend a little less. Race relations between blacks and whites in America are much improved, but incidents such as the recent shooting of a young black man by New York City police, continue to divide the community.
You know, the police were begging this guy to surrender. Then he puts his hand in his pocket and pulls out what first appears to be a bazooka. Then at second glance, looks more like a rocket launcher. The cops have no choice except to start firing.
I saw it. I saw the whole thing. They shot that brother 56 times, and then they laid a 45 and a naked white woman next to the body. And then they had a cookout while they waited for the ambulance to come.
The South is still dominated by what we call rednecks, and their old prejudices and paranoias are alive and well.
We want to get rid of the secret gay, Jewish, Negro conglomerate that truly controls this country.
For them to say that we have power and influence over the media is just simply ridiculous. And, excuse me. Yes, give it to Will Smith. As I was saying, we have no power or influence over the media because if we did... Just a moment. Yes, give it to Will Smith. Anyway, as I was saying...
This is Reginald D. Hunter, the 11 o'clock show, the White House.
Now, Iain, it's time to tell you about tonight's guest. He left London's Shepherd's Bush to find fame and fortune in America with his megastar band Bush. But what was wrong with the Shepherds? There's no doubt he's one of our most famous exports. And here are Bush in action with War Machine.
Here comes the War Machine. Such a war machine.
Please welcome Gavin Rossdale.
Lovely to meet you. Thanks very much for coming on. Don't be scared.
Pleasure. I won't be scared.
OK, cool. Now, you're in one of the biggest bands in America.
Right.
How does it feel?
It feels pretty good. It feels pretty human, yeah, it's all right.
Is it quite nice?
Yeah, it's good.
Now, is it being a bit naff, though? Does it feel a bit naff being worshipped by Yanks?
No, worship is always good wherever it comes from.
Oh, really? It doesn't matter who's worshipping as long as there's some
it's
glory.
fine.
Are you still dating Gwen off of No Doubt?
I think so, as we speak, as it goes out, you know, transmission time and
Is
all
it
that.
that up and down? Or...
Oh, yeah, it's tempestuous, you know.
They're the best ones, tempestuous.
Fire.
Give her a good kicking.
No, not kicking, David.
Sorry.
There's a difference between a kicking and a romantic, gentle slap.
Well, I want to ask about this.
Or is there? I don't know.
I want to ask about this because you're in a top rock and roll band. Do you lead the hell-raising lifestyle?
Well, you know, from time to time, it's been known.
Have you thrown a telly out the hotel window?
No.
You must have been tempted, because all bands...
I was going to do it for the NME. They wanted to do some, like, rock and roll cliches. And we said, yeah, you know, we'll chuck a telly out the window. They said, oh, sorry, they don't have the budget for that.
The thing I want to know about being a rock band, is it true, do you get loads of groupies just coming on to you, sex whenever you want, twos up, five, OXO, chicken sandwich, high five? Do you get to do all that whenever you want?
Yeah.
Where's my guitar? I fancy a twiddle. Now, this week's Melody Maker has compiled a list of the top 20 rock and roll hellraisers. Let's have a quick look at it.
Right.
We've got Marilyn Manson, the biggest pretender, at number 9. Robbie Williams there, just below Liam Gallagher. That's interesting.
Kurt being at number 1's a bit weird because his whole thing was like to rail against all that excess that was going on from the sort of hair band. So he shouldn't really be at the top of that list.
Should he
of
be in
course,
this
he can't
song?
answer himself, bless him.
But I mean, what was he? So he wasn't a hellraiser at all. He was into drugs and guns, wasn't he? I'm guessing. I don't know.
I can't answer for that, but definitely, like, I think I'm not sure about him being as a hellraiser. You know, more of a punk.
Okay, now
the difference.
We saw that list of hellraisers there. Does it help if you're dead? I mean, Keith Moon and Kurt Cobain are on there.
You know, they say death sells.
Yeah. Well,
what about Richie from the Manics? Because all he did was just get himself lost, and he's at number 4. So, I mean...
But he did great for that band. I mean, you know, he wrote all the words for them and get them going, and then
How do they still
that
write
final push. Now I think that the singer does it now.
yeah, and he's rubbish. Were you surprised as I was not to see Nick Kershaw on that list? I mean, after such great work such as The Riddle, is it not a bit weird?
I think that he's probably one of the greatest purveyors of death rock I've ever known.
Yeah, I think so.
He killed music.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Gavin Rosdale.
Now time for some news just in.
It's been revealed that veteran DJ Alan Fluff Freeman now uses a Zimmer frame and lives in a retirement home. Staff confirm that he is one of this week's non-movers.
David Beckham has rejected claims that he was ripped off by the barber who charged him £300 for a crew cut. He explained that it was good value at £5 for the cut, plus a 10% tip.
Katie Hill has announced that she's to leave Blue Peter. A BBC spokesman said they have a long-standing policy of changing the dogs on the show every few years.
And that was the news just in.
Sorry, late-night TV fans, but that's about it for tonight's show.
Boo-hoo! But first, the FA deny that British football is turning into a circus.
Whoa! Before you go, please don't turn over without heeding this important charity message. Good night.
Good night.
Hello. Imagine a zoo. Mums, dads, children playing gaily. Polar bears, the aquarium. Oh, look at the monkeys. Imagine it's a zoo in Eastern Europe. Filthy. No food. The keepers treat the animals badly. One even stuck his prick up a penguin. Sick, isn't it? You know, it needn't happen. Please, please send us some money now. Have a heart. Soft, furry animals.